sometimes the things that we need the most are going to help us the most, are going to excite us the most, are things like we never really thought about before. This wasn't something I've been planning about, thinking about. I haven't been manifesting a space. I haven't been hoping for a space. I think sometimes we're trying so hard to manifest the things we think are going to make us feel the way we want to feel, or they're going to get us what we think we want, and they're not. And that's why it's not working. And if you just let go and you let yourself be surprised, or you stay open to the possibilities, that's where things can come in out of left field that are going to actually really excite you and change the trajectory of everything. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, I wanted to talk about the new location I'm opening up. So if you've followed me on Instagram, you probably have seen that we are opening up CTC headquarters, which I'm so excited about. We have our grand launch party happening on May 10th. If you listen to this before then and you're in SoCal, you should come check it out. It's going to be epic. I'll put the link in the show notes in the description below so you can check it out. The more the merrier. It's going to be so fun. We're going to have body bedazzling and face painting and airbrush tattoos and bubbles and cotton candy and gluten-free, dairy-free cake and I don't know, wellness things, massage, little meditation station, puppies. I mean, it's going to be epic. Christina lattes, all the good stuff. So I'm really excited about that, but I wanted to backtrack and tell you the story about why I'm opening this up and how I kind of fell into finding this space, because I feel like it's a really good example of accidentally manifesting something. A lot of people ask me, do I need to be specific with what I'm manifesting? And no, you don't always. And to me, I think about all of this as a lifestyle. It's about living a lifestyle where you are in flow and you're constantly co-creating with the universe. And sometimes co-creating looks like I'm initiating. Sometimes co-creating looks like the universe is throwing a ball my way and I am hitting it. And I'm like, whoa, I didn't even realize that I wanted to play that game, but I do. And so all of that's happening. My life would not feel like if it was in flow, and it wouldn't have that magic and that synchronicity to it if everything that came my way I was planning. That's not what a miracle feels like. It feels like I never even thought about this and it came my way, and it's better than I could have planned for. I couldn't have even imagined this. That's what makes life feel really magical. So telling you about how I found this place, let's backtrack there. I had no intentions of opening up a physical location. I mean, one of the things I have always loved about what I do is that I can travel a lot. I'm sure you know that I travel all the time. I love traveling. I love visiting new places and just getting out of my space and switching up my routine. So I have loved that flexibility of being able to do what I want anywhere. I can record anywhere, a little bit less so now that we do everything on video, but I can record anywhere. I can take calls anywhere. Even with seeing clients, there's a lot of clients where I would go to their houses. So there's a lot of flexibility with that. And also that I had really no overhead. When you have a business where most of your offers are just offering a service that doesn't require any overhead, and when it's based on digital products and offerings, so most of my offerings are digital products, courses, membership programs, things like that, you don't have heavy overhead. You pay a bit for things like web hosting and the online platforms we use and all that. So I've always loved that flexibility. It feels like low barrier to entry. And there's obviously so much that comes with opening a brick and mortar. I have a lot of friends who have in-person locations, physical spaces. They have businesses like that. I have a lot of clients like that too. There's so much that goes into it that I kind of just never really wanted to deal with and didn't really need to. And I think there is something in the back of my mind that's always felt like, oh, that would be so epic to have a space. But I honestly just felt like I didn't want to deal with all of the overhead or the logistics, and I didn't want to be tied down to a place. And yeah, I just never really thought about it. And over the last year, as we change. I've just been feeling into the pulse of what's alive for me and what I'm excited about. And I think spending a lot of time, as I always do, evaluating, what's lighting me up. And I went through this phase where I felt this lull with my excitement. Like everything just felt, I don't know, maybe too easy. I hate to say it that way, but like I'm doing the same thing again and again and again. I'm good at it. I enjoy it, but I love novelty. I love a challenge. I love switching things up. And I just felt like with myself and with my business, I wanted something to challenge me a little bit more. And I was looking for something to spice things up and just bring a new energy to it. And I think I was really struggling with the monotony of every day, kind of waking up and going to my laptop. And I've been struggling a lot with being on screens a ton. I've talked about this, but I mean, I've just been getting really bad head symptoms and I'm getting so sensitive to the EMFs. It's really hard for me to be on screens for a long period of time. So that's why, I mean, I just love in-person sessions. I always have. That's a space where I feel like I'm in my flow. I'm in my artistry. I'm in my mastery, having someone on the table doing energy work, intuitive work, just being fully present, being in that experience. That's my favorite place to be always. Whenever I'm doing that, I just feel that feeling of this is where I'm supposed to be in my life. This is who I'm here to be. And so that lights me up. And yeah, I was just in this space where I was asking my higher self, I was asking spirit, show me my next step where I can feel excited again. I was looking for that generator sacral yes, that excitement, that yes, like I want to lean into this, I want to grow. And for me, I certainly use my business as one of my main growth portals and expansion portals. I use it to challenge me. It could be very easy for me to leave it status quo, make good money, rinse and repeat. And that's what a lot of people do. And that's great. It's probably smarter. I like to push my edges with things. I like to change up my offers, like to try new things just because it's part of how I grow. And there's other ways that you can do that too that don't have to involve your business, but that's just my style. So I was in that kind of space in my life and energy. And I have a friend who has a business with this beautiful location. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm watching as, you know, they're creating the location. And I actually have a couple of friends, people in my life who I'm watching creating these locations, and I'm just seeing it come together, like the creativity, the Pinterest boards, the color schemes, the vision, bringing it to life. And I'm watching this whole process of it coming together. And I'm like, wow, this is incredible. And I loved watching that, witnessing that. And that started to bubble up that feeling for me of, wow, like I would love to have a space that I could just create where I could have this vision of what I want it to look like and feel like and bring it into 3D reality and have this physical portal for people to come and get out of their everyday life. Because as I've talked about before, I think so much of what allows us to transform and to find new perspective and change our energy, change the way that we feel is when we get out of our everyday environment. I think that there are a lot of pros to us being able to do so many things virtually, but I think there are also cons to it. And one of those is it is just much easier for us to shift our energy when we're in a different location, when we're not in a space that's holding old vibrational memory. And I was feeling like I wanted to enter that portal too. You know, for me, part of me loves working from home. The other part of me was like, I wish I had somewhere to go into, just kind of get out of my everyday routine. And something that I love is creating experiences. It's one of my favorite things to do. I love throwing parties. I think people know this about me. I love all of the details. I've always been like that. I've been like that since I was in middle school. I'm always the person that's throwing the parties, making them really extra. I like all the personalized details. I like creating portals. I like creating these places, these experiences where people really can leave their life at the door and enter. It's one of the reasons why I love Disneyland, right? It's like you're entering this other world where your inner child can come alive, where your real feelings can come alive, where you can play with different parts of your personality, where you can step into your most authentic self and express yourself in new ways. I know the value in that and how good that feels. And I love to create that for other people. And I love crafting that. Like I love crafting that and personalizing that for people. And that's one of the reasons why I love giving sessions, because I get to create that portal every time. Like someone's coming here, and everything from the scents I'm diffusing to the crystals I have out to the tea that I make them, everything is personalized, and I'm always tuning into my intention for that person, what they're desiring, what they want to create. And it's all those little details that facilitate the experience and make it better. And I think it's really needed on this planet. So I just love that. It's part of my creative flow. And I think one of the big drivers for me in the last year is I feel like I wasn't feeling creative, and I need to be creative, but I just felt like everything I was doing was very left-brained and not very creative and wasn't pushing me creatively. And I just didn't feel like I had a strong creative outlet. And I was playing, just things personally, but it wasn't enough. And I was like, I need to feel really creative in my business right now. That's what is lacking for me. And so I had thought about, what would it look like for me to open up a space? And then I was like, financially, I just don't know that that's worth it. And then where would I, have it? And I just had all these human thoughts around it. So I just threw it aside, and I'm like, you know what? I want to build up what I'm working on right now. And then let me revisit that in like 4 or 5 years when I'm more grounded, and I'll deal with it then. But I know that in the future, I would love to have a location. Now, at the time, I was also chatting with one of my friends about a space that we wanted to open up together, different concept, but we wanted to do that together to kind of have a place for people to go. And we had kind of a business model behind that. So we were loosely thinking about where that would be and what we would want to do, but kind of more planning on doing that toward the end of this year and tabling it. But we were kind of visioning for that. And when we needed to co-work one day, so we ended up going to his friend's office because it was a central point between us to co-work. And my friend was like, oh, well, they have an extra space. They're looking for someone to lease. We should go check it out to see if it would be good. And I was like, okay. So, I mean, it just wasn't even on my mind. And so we go to see it, and it was a really cool spot. And it was a really cool spot. And I was like, wow, this place is sick. Like sick. But I was like, well, I don't really think this would work for me and for what we want to do. It doesn't make sense with just the way it's laid out and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, but it's such a shame because it's such a shame. Like, it's such a good spot for so many reasons. And logistically, I told him, and I was like, there is a reason we were supposed to go in there. Like, I walked in there, and I was like, my whole body lit up, but I'm looking at the whole thing, and I'm like, it's a sick place, but it's totally a man cave. I have to redo the whole thing. And also logistically, doesn't make sense because in terms of rooms and layout, it's not what I want. And I told him, I'm like, there's a reason that I walked into that place, and I don't know, should we do it? Are we thinking about it wrong? And I just let it sit. And I was like, you know what? Maybe that was just supposed to show me that, like, there's something there. And I realized in that moment that, like, the universe very much sent me to that place for an important reason, but I wasn't really putting it together yet. And I was like, it feels so close, but it's not quite it. And my friend was like, well, do you want to just take this for yourself? And I was like, no, I'm not looking for a space right now. Like, I don't want to have this overhead, or I don't know where I'm going to be living, blah, blah, blah. So I wasn't even thinking that direction. And then a couple weeks later, I was still, actually, I don't know, was it a couple weeks? Was it a couple months? Actually, maybe it was a couple months. Maybe like 2 months. I was just still feeling this. I need to feel more creative in my life. Like, what's missing? I'm not feeling this oomph. Like, I'm not, what's going on? And I went to go get my hair done, as I do. And I love getting my hair done for so many reasons, outside of getting my hair done, because I just love going to the salon. I love the experience. I love hanging out with Chadwin, but he makes it's just such a beautiful space, and you just feel abundant and taken care of when you go there. You know, all of the little details. They bring out their drink menu. He makes me a latte. They bring out this little charcuterie board for you, like everything. And whenever I go get my hair done and I'm in that setting, first of all, I dress differently than the way I dress when I'm just working in my house. And I go and I just feel so much better. And I always leave my hair appointment with so many creative ideas. I feel electric. I feel like I drank 10 cups of coffee and I don't have the negative side effects. I always have a giant note of all the downloads I got. I feel so inspired. And I called my boyfriend on my way home, just feeling that electricity. And I go, every time I go there, I just feel so amazing when I come home, and I need more of that. Like, I wish I could go get my hair done every single day, because it encourages me to dress up in actual clothes, to like shift my energy in that way, to get in my car, to go into a different space. I have different lighting, I have different stimuli, I'm talking to different people, and it just does so much for me creatively. And I feel like every day when I'm in the same routine, I'm not feeling creative. I feel like I'm just following a set of to-dos, and I'm just like on one. And I go, you know what? Maybe I should just open up a space, because look at how much better it makes me feel when I just go into another location. And I was like putting it together live, and I'm like, I think that I should take that space. I wonder if it's still free. And this has been a couple months later. And I'm like, that place was perfect. Like, if I redid it, it has, energy healing room, office, podcast studio. There's a whole event space in the back. Like, what if I just moved my business into that? And I'm like putting it together live, and it felt like such a duh moment. And I had that feeling of like, yeah, this is it. And then I thought, oh my God, but do I want to like, that other part of me that retracted of, do I want to lock it down? Like, once you have a lease for, my lease is over for longer than a year. I'm like, I'm there. Like, I'm there. We're going to move soon. We got to move closer. It's like a commitment. It's going to require me to go in. I mean, I don't have to, but I'm going to utilize it. Like, I'm going to go into a space, and don't a lot of us get into this so that we can work from home and be flexible and go wherever when I'm paying this much in rent every month? Like, I'm going to be there all the time. Like, you feel these things related to commitment. I feel like it's similar to what a lot of people have, I feel like, with committed relationships where they like retract because they feel that feeling of, I'm getting locked in. Is this going to limit my freedom? And I felt that logical ping of, is this going to like limit my freedom? And I sat with that, but I'm like, but right now in this moment, I feel so liberated. And every day of my life for the past 10 years, I have had the luxury of working from wherever I want, whenever I want. And I feel so much liberation, but there are also times I don't. Like, it still can feel limiting. And I'm like, but so what if having an in-person location actually like gave me more freedom in my life, which is, I hadn't thought about it that way before, but in the moment I was realizing it was similar to how a lot of people feel about relationships. And I coach a lot of people through this, a lot of, especially men, who feel like if they get in a relationship, they're going to lose their committed relationship. They'll lose their freedom. And I'll walk them through how actually it gives them more freedom with the right person. And I was like, it's the same thing with this location. And I started to think about the energetics of putting all of my energy into this space that could hold the frequency, into a space where I could charge it up and everybody could come, and what it would look like and feel like to have a space where I could host events regularly and create more in-person community, because that was one of our main goals for this year, was doing more in-person events, creating more in-person community here in San Diego, because I'm just craving to do a lot more in person. And how amazing it would be to have a place that is always available to me, that I could use whenever I wanted, where I could do big events, small events, ceremonies, personalized things, workshops, immersions, retreat days, like all of it, totally accessible. Have our podcast studio there, have sessions there, have more opportunity to train people, because one of the things I really want to do is do more in-person Ahai training for people, not just virtual. And I was like, oh my gosh, this feels like it's going to open everything up for me creatively. And even just the process of taking the frequency I want to convey, and how do I express that through a space, and how incredible that would be for me. Because one of the things that I struggle with the most, I'm sure a lot of you can relate, is everything that goes on with my psychic awareness and in my head. I always think about, I wish I could show people this. I wish I could bring them into the journey I'm going on in my head. And I try to find ways to do that, like with the meditations, the membership, with the guided energy work. A lot of those are kind of taking you through what's going on in my psyche. Like, I try to find ways to express it, but it would be hard without an actual recorder, in there. And I thought, a space can help hold a frequency and convey that, and show people what it feels like to be in this vibrational space consistently. So I was suddenly like, oh my God, is this what I'm supposed to do? And I got home and I texted the person who was renting it, and I said, hey, is this space still available? And he was like, yeah, it is. And I was like, okay. Because in my head, I'm like, if it's available, it's for me. Because it had been months since we first checked it out. And I was like, can I go see it? So we went to go see it. I brought the team and I was like, this is it. We're just doing it. And it was a really cool experience for me because it wasn't something I saw coming. And I think so much of my life, I see everything coming, you know, like I tap in and I'm like, well, when's this going to happen? And how am I going to get this? And I see most of it coming. There's a lot of stuff that comes in for me that I don't see coming, but those are usually the smaller things. The bigger things, I feel like I always know like what's coming next. And this was something that was going to come through that really, the ripple out effect of it changed kind of everything. It changed all of our plans for offerings for the rest of the year. It's changed our plans with in-person events. It kind of changed what I wanted to focus on. It pivoted the whole business in a way that's really exciting. And I was asking for it and I wasn't receiving it. And psychically, which actually made the experience so much more fun because it like dropped in my lap and I was like, wait, is this it? Like, holy shit. And I think what really the reason why I want to tell this story is because sometimes the things that we need the most are going to help us the most, are going to excite us the most, are things like we never really thought about before. This wasn't something I've been planning about, thinking about. I haven't been manifesting a space. I haven't been hoping for a space. I've like thought about it lightly a couple times in the last 6 months to a year, but I was like, yeah, I'll deal with it later. Like, I don't really want that. I wasn't sitting there like, okay, I'm manifesting a space the way I'm like, I'm manifesting a house right now. Or before when I was like, I was manifesting a boyfriend, I wasn't even thinking about it. And it came in and it is such a huge thing for me and my life and my business. Like it really pulls the energy all the way there that I didn't plan for, that I didn't ask for. That was like the key, like the key to the next stage, the key to what's going to excite me next, that I had never thought about or anticipated. And I think that's why it was such an exciting manifestation. And the way it came in for me, like, I feel like this space is so perfect for me. The location is ideal, like parking, where it is logistically, the layout, it's exactly the number of rooms I need. You know, it's like we've got the podcast studio, we've got a waiting room, we've got my office for content creation, we've got the healing room, we've got a full kitchen, we've got a co-working area, we've got wellness stuff in there, and then a giant event space in the back. I feel like it's like literally perfect for me. And the event space in the back was the kicker because I had never thought about an office, because to me, I felt like, oh my God, then I'm going to have to do so many sessions to like make that overhead worth it for me and in person. And most office spaces, if you're going to look for an office, they don't have a giant event space in the back. Like it's just not very common. And I thought, you know, this is just shit you can't make up, right? Where something drops in your lap, super easy. I wasn't even looking for it. I wasn't even thinking about it. It's exactly what I wanted that I didn't know I wanted. It was exactly what I needed that I didn't know I needed. And suddenly all my energy is turning online again. And I think that's such a powerful lesson in life. Like, I think sometimes we're trying so hard to manifest the things we think are going to make us feel the way we want to feel, or they're going to get us what we think we want. And they're not. And that's why it's not working. And if you just let go and you let yourself be surprised, or you stay open to the possibilities, that's where things can come in out of left field that are going to actually really excite you and change the trajectory of everything. And there has been a lot of stuff in my life that I never thought I would do, or I never thought I would be a part of, or I would be into, or whatever, that just came out of left field. And my logical mind judged it. My logical mind will be like, oh no, you don't need that, or that's a waste of time, or it's just a distraction. But there's something in my body and my intuition that's like, look at this. And it ends up being some of the most important stuff in my life. And even with this experience, again, when this place first came to me, I think about it like they're showing me an image of water in one of those buoys and how it kind of like moves and like bobs. You know, it's like this thing in my energy field, my ocean, that bumps up against me. And I'm like, no. But then guess what? It's, hey, we're coming back. You know, it kind of did that to me, where when we first found this space, I was like, no, like, doesn't make any sense. It's not for me. Yeah, that's such a shame because it's a great spot. Wish I had a reason for it. Like that was my logical mind. And my higher self was like, oh my God, she's not getting it. So it comes back for me. And then I thought, well, what if this could work though? And I realized it made my brain work very differently, to think about, if I'm opening a physical location, how do I want the business to run based on that, versus when it's all digital online, how do I want my business to run? Like it actually just totally changed the way that I thought about the business, and it's been exciting me a lot and opening up new possibilities. Where before, when I thought about having a space, I kept viewing it from the lens of its limitations. I kept viewing it from the lens of, it's gonna hold me back, I'm gonna get locked in, it's gonna limit what I can do, it's gonna limit my time, I won't have freedom. And what actually happened was it expanded my creative flow so much. I've had so many more ideas. Every single day, I mean, this morning I was like, oh my God, I had this idea and that idea. We're going to add in this. And literally what I needed came through something that I didn't think I wanted. Like something that I literally thought would be bad for me. And this can be really true in life. This can be true with people. I feel like this is true so often for people with dating. People will turn away the person that could be the best person for them because of their logical mind, or they have an expectation. They're addicted to like bad boy energy, when really you just need like a nice solid man. He will make you happy. That kind of energy. We do that all the time. I do that with business in general. I find a lot of people, they struggle with money because, money's trying to come to them in a certain way. And they're like, no, I don't want to do that. No. And they're judging it, when actually that's the thing that would bring them a lot of money and make them happy. But they've just decided, no, this is how I want to do it, and this is what's going to make me happy. And it never really does. And so I think the big lesson in this is that you don't have to know what you're manifesting. The universe is still going to deliver to you, but you've got to keep your eyes and ears open. You've got to stop judging things before you make a final decision about it, and like take some time to tune in. And I was very much like, you know what? I need a big sign. And for bigger life choices, I honestly always depend on the synchronicities. I'm like, if this is for me, it's going to still be there. And so I reached out and I was like, let's move this along quickly. Let's go. And there was a lot when I was saying yes to the space where logistically I still didn't understand. Like now, because we're close to opening, I've thought about it a lot more, and a lot more has come in. But when I said yes to the space and I signed the lease, I was still in a place where I was like, I didn't really know how I'm going to make this work with my calendar, with my schedule, like logistically. I didn't really know, but all I know is that I'm supposed to do it. It's a big space. It's not like just renting a room out of an office or renting it's a large location. It feels like a whole other business. And I didn't really know, but what I knew is my body and my intuition was so lit up, and I knew it was the right move, that I'm just going to go into it. And when you follow your intuition, when you follow synchronicity, it truly is one step at a time. And I think the big thing that holds people back is that they want to know how it's all going to play out. Like, if I was waiting to see financially how this space was going to open up so much, I would have waited a lot longer to say yes to it, and maybe it would have been gone or not available by then. But I just knew that was a space, and so I said yes, and then all of the information came to me after. But I think, the magic in it was that I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't planning it. And I did not ever think that having a physical location was going to be the thing that made me feel a lot more creative. But I feel like it's turned on and activated my creativity in a very different way, a way that I was searching for. And it feels like it gives me that same oomph that I get when I'm doing the vision for a party. Like, what are all of the details? What's the experience I want people to walk people through? How do I want to switch things up? And even just how it's actually requiring me to change my calendar and my weekly schedule. I do things in a certain way. I've been doing it for a long time. And this is requiring me to have more of a set calendar, set things that are going to affect everybody on the team more consistently, like being in person, which means I can't last minute go to a massage or change my day. And there's a piece of me that doesn't want to do that wants to hold on to what I think is my freedom. But as I felt into it more and I get closer, I'm like, this is going to be so good for me to be back on like a stricter schedule. And I think a lot of us go from being so like hyper masculine energy of being too planned, too rigid. And even just I think about the education system, or if you've worked a 9 to 5 and you feel like you were held hostage by these schedules, that then you can go to the opposite side and go way too far on the opposite side, where you're way too in your feminine and you're way too loosey-goosey and you're actually way less productive because you don't have any kind of schedule or anything holding you accountable. And I know a lot of people, once they get to that place, I have this conversation all the time, just the little inkling of like, hey, every Tuesday you've got to do this, or this is going to happen at 4 p.m. every Wednesday. People have resistance to it because they have so much trauma from when they were way too rigid. And a lot of that is just the body storing that memory, storing that pain or that lack of freedom that you felt there, which is not, it wasn't just about the calendar. It was about where you were going, and that you were going into something that you felt like sucked your soul out of your body, right? But if it was something that you love to do, would showing up there every Thursday from 10 to 5, like you were obsessed with it, it was so much fun, would that suck? I'm like, if somebody told me my job was to go on rides at Disneyland, every day from 8 a.m. until 10 p.m., I would not complain. I'd be there. But if you told me I had to go into a corporate office in a little cubicle and, I don't know, organize numbers, I would, want to gouge my eyeballs out. So it's really about like what we're doing. And the more that I felt into that, for me, I'm like, oh my God, I actually feel so free as I'm looking at how clean and nice my calendar is, because we're already planning it out. I'm like, every Tuesday, every Wednesday, every Thursday, every Friday, I'm going to be here doing this thing. And it's opened up so much for me and given all of my energy somewhere to flow, and flow in a way that I can bring it into the 3D. And so it's just been really good for me, but I wanted to share that example of a manifestation story, because everything in my life that feels big or as a pivot, it comes through in different ways. And sometimes I'm really like planning on it. I'm like, I want to manifest this. But a lot of times there's gray area in it. I think about, with manifesting a partner, I'm like, I know I want a partner, and I know the qualities and the feelings, but there's a lot in there. I don't know exactly how I'm going to meet them or exactly what they're going to be like. Or with my car, I was like, I know I want a car. I don't know much else, and then you let the universe fill in the details, and that's what makes it so fun and cool. And with this space, it just felt like such a fuck yeah story, because I wasn't manifesting a space. I didn't even think I wanted one. And now I'm like, what was I thinking? This is the best thing ever. Like, I am so excited about it. It is going to be so fun. I'm excited to have way more in-person events, to see more of you in person, to have more community here in San Diego and SoCal, to bring in all the things that I love into a physical location and share that with more people, to really be able to create more experiences for people to like feel the frequency, to experience Ahai, to activate their own intuitive gifts or spiritual abilities, to have that community, to feel that soul family, to incorporate all the things I like Xtina lattes and crystals and scents, and have our quartz products out and actually have a space for the products to be shown and purchased, and like all of that. And I am just super excited. I hope that you come check it out at some point, and that'll be the place where I do all of my in-person sessions. And I'll still do some virtual sessions, but I'm trying to move everything as much as I can to in-person. Like, I want to do a lot more in-person than virtual. So it's just going to be like so fun, I think, for the whole team, for everybody involved. But it is one of my favorite manifestations in my life, because I didn't know I needed it. And I share that with you because if there's a feeling you want to feel in your life, and you feel like you're trying really hard to figure out what would make you feel that way, or you're trying really hard to go in a certain direction that you think will make you feel that way, and you feel stuck, you feel not very excited, you feel resistance, you feel like, it's just not clicking, stop trying and just live. Do your thing. Don't overthink it, and truly just listen to the small moments where you feel excited and start to note them and say, I want more of this feeling. Spirit, send me more of this feeling. Show me how I can have more of this feeling, and live in that question. And a person, an opportunity, a place, an experience is going to bump up against you in your ocean. It's going to bump up against you, and your job is to just get curious. Don't judge it. Don't make assumptions. Don't have expectations, but get curious about what's possible there, because that's often where we're going to find everything that we want. It's usually coming in ways that we couldn't have planned for. That's why we don't have it yet. And that's why a lot of people feel stuck, is because they're trying to force a feeling to happen in a certain way, and it's just never going to happen that way. Your higher self is not trying to make this hard for you. Your higher self is trying to send you what you want, but we have to get out of the way with our own human ego and our own human thoughts and assumptions, and allow ourselves to receive and think about things differently. Whether that is with manifesting a partner, with manifesting friendships, with manifesting a new home or living situation, with manifesting more abundance, more money, financial opportunity, with manifesting soul-aligned experiences, your spiritual gifts. A lot of the things that are going to give you what you want are going to come in packages that you don't expect, and that is what makes it magical. So I hope that story was helpful, and maybe sparked something within you. For me, I kept thinking, my higher self is trying to make it obvious, but because the answer was something I wasn't expecting, it took me a second to get it. And I'm obviously very psychic. It wasn't, when I sat in meditation, I said, what do I need to do? I wasn't getting anything. It came to me. Just because you don't get anything, with your clairaudience or your clairvoyance or whatever, your knowing, doesn't mean it's not coming. But sometimes the universe is answering through a person or an experience. The universe answered. It just wasn't in that moment. It was in the 3D physical, in my everyday life. And that is what made it so fun. So stop overthinking it, live, interact with the world, and see what the universe delivers. And I think that now more than ever before, people have so much information and they're so in their heads that your higher self, spirit, the universe is going to deliver more through what's happening in your life than it is in your intuition, because it's like, let's just not even confuse them or have them deal with it. I'm just going to give it to them. You're just going to walk right into it. And I walked right into this one. I was like, wow, this is epic. And felt really fun. So that is how I manifested this new space. I'm naming this space Dreamland. That's the name of it, because it's going to be a place where dreams come true. That I did get it in a vision. I was sitting with it and I was like feeling into the vibe of the space and what I want to create. And there's just like clouds and neon signs and bubbles and angels and like yummy lattes. And I just saw this neon sign that said Dreamland. So we're getting that neon sign. We're getting a couple. And we're going to have our big grand opening party on the 10th to celebrate. And that's where we're going to hold all of our events and sessions and experiences from here on out. So maybe I will see you there in the future. That would be a lot of fun. Again, I will put the link for the event if you want to come. There'll be a lot of freebies. Everybody who comes is going to get a free month of the membership, so you can test it out, and you'll get a free quartz product. There's going to be lots of freebies there, but we'll put the link for that in the description below, and I would love to see you there. That is going to be it for today's episode. Thank you so much for tuning in and hanging out with me today. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll chat with you again next time.